Hello everyone, it's Cassie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first book haul of 2026. It is officially June and I felt like it was about time I did a book haul for you. I think I've done pretty well of not buying a ton of books this year, but they are stacking up, so I figured I should give you a haul as well as the books I'm unhauling so far this year. Where I'm currently living, I only have room for one bookshelf, so I'm having to take things off my shelves as I get new things, which means I'm unhauling a little bit more often, but I've kept them aside so I can show you what the ins and outs are so far this year. So this video is probably going to be quite long. Grab a snack and let's just get into it. I have hauled 23 books in 2026. Some of you may think that's a lot, but I think it's a lot less than previous years. I have held myself back and tried to really only buy things when they're on sale. I have like coupons, gift cards, all that kind of stuff to save money, and it's not like my TBR is at zero, so I don't need a lot of these books, but I also have bought a lot of books that I already read and just wanted the book trophy for, which has been a good strategy for me since the beginning of the year, because there are so many books that I thought I would want and then I listened to the audiobook and it's just a mid book, so I don't need to spend $26 on a paperback for a okay book. I've hauled 23 and I've read 10 of them already, so I'm happy with that ratio. In January, I did not buy a single book. Pat myself on the back, but in February, of course, I started. This one was a book trophy. I got Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I decided to go with the paperback for this one. One, it's super pretty. Two, the hardcover, insane. I keep seeing videos of like Americans realizing how much Canadians are paying for books. This one is a dystopian romantasy, I guess. I'll do a quick synopsis for most of these, but Ren, our main character, has psychic abilities and she's been hiding it because most people with these abilities or some type of abilities end up getting killed or taken by the government. Truly just awful things happening to them, and she wants to help the rebellion. Something brings her abilities kind of to light, and she's now at Silver Block, which is like an elite training center. She starts having feelings for Cross, who is the commanding officer. I loved this one last year, so I just knew I needed to get a copy. I haven't read the sequel quite yet, but I'm very excited to listen to the audiobook for that one. Another one I've read, but I read this after I bought it, is The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. Think modern day Daisy Jones and the Six. It was sold to me as Daisy Jones and the Six. I did not realize it was modern day until I started reading it. We have the Future Saints who recently, I think within the last year, went through a tragedy where their manager died. Their manager also was the lead singer's sister, so she's kind of causing chaos for all of them. I won't give you my thoughts too much, but I didn't enjoy this one that much. I did not like the modern day parts of it because there's a lot about like TikTok going viral, blah blah blah. I don't know, just didn't hit for me. It was a mid book. I've yet to read And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This one's a floppy one. This is in the, I can't remember what this series is called, but First Time Caller is the first book. I feel like it has something to do with heart. They're both meteorologists and they're kind of competitors, but they're forced to work together for this really big storm coming. He is more serious. She likes more of the adventure, and they make a deal. She'll help him kind of more enjoy his job and his life again, and he will help her ace this assignment. So I'm really excited for this one. I really loved the first one, the Heartstrings, that's what it's called, the Heartstrings series. I think this one will be super good as well. Then in March, I bought 4 books. The first one was a book trophy, and that was for Direbound. I got the deluxe limited edition one. This is by Sable Sorensen, which I just found out the other day. I don't know how I didn't know, is like a writing duo. So that's super fun. I enjoyed this one. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as everyone else. I remember just hearing like so much praise. I love this one. So much praise, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This one, think Hunger Games and Fourth Wing together, except instead of dragons, we have wolves and they have to bond. Marin has to take care of her family, and there are these, I forget what they're called. These monsters are taking children from her like area, and her sister ends up being one of them. She wants to save her, and the only way to do that in her mind is join the bonding trials and the army in order to like cross the front and find her sister. So that's what brings her to this situation, but the bonding trials are awful and many people don't make it through, and then she struggles to bond. There's betrayal, all the things in this one. I did enjoy this one, and it's just like a beautiful addition. Then I have In Her Own League by Liz Tomforty. This is a spin-off of the Windy City series, which I'm still not finished. I have one more to go in that. I just have rewind it back. But this is a spin-off about Reese and Emmett. Reese is the new and first female owner of a MLB team, and Emmett is the coach. So he is in book 3 and 4, and Reese is introduced in book 4. Emmett is also the father of Miller, who's the female main character in the 3rd book, and that one's my favorite one, and I have loved all the bits we have seen of Emmett and the bits that we saw of Reese in the last book. So I'm super excited to get to this one. I don't want to get to it though, because then I'm like completely done, and I really don't want to do that. That's why I've pushed it off so much. But I know they kind of bicker and fight in the 4th book, so I think that'll be super fun to see in this one. I have Love Song by Elle Kennedy. Now, I'm nowhere near reading this book in this world, in this series, but I really wanted this edition, and I was just kind of nervous about how long it would be around. It is the Indigo exclusive. But this is the newest release in the off-campus universe. The daughter of John Logan and the son of Garrett Graham, I believe. I just bought it because it was nice. I mean, I'm trying not to do but I'm gonna read it eventually. I just need to make my way through the series, but I'm really trying not to do that. I haven't done it a ton this year. But then I have another hockey romance. This is Revolve by Ball Cabra. This is, I can't remember what this series is called either. But I love this series. It's super cute. This one's about an Olympic figure skater who has a life-altering accident on the ice. Now she's back for her final year at Dalton University and ready to reclaim the spotlight with all eyes on her. The male main character is Dylan Donovan. After getting kicked off his hockey team for his reckless behavior, Dylan is left with slim chances to be drafted into the NHL. So I'm excited for this one. We've seen Donovan in, I think they just call him Donovan, in the other 2 books. I loved the first one. I enjoyed the second one, but I definitely liked the university college setting more. So I'm excited. I just smacked myself. I'm definitely excited to get back into that setting as well. I think, the Off the Ice series, it's right there. I think they mentioned her in the last book as well. Next is April, where I did a lot of damage. If you watched my come book shopping video with me, which I will try and remember to link down below, you will have seen a lot of these. This is when I bought a good chunk of books I've already read because I had my birthday discount from Indigo. So I bought First Time Caller by BK Borson. I love these covers. They're super cool and just like very pleasing to the eye. So I definitely wanted to own them. This one is about Aiden and Lucy. Lucy is a single mother, and Aiden has a romance hotline kind of radio show, but he's kind of fallen out of the idea of love and if that's possible. And Lucy's teenage daughter, I think she's a teenager, like almost teenage daughter, ends up calling in for her mother without her mother knowing. It becomes this whole thing where they're trying to find Lucy love and her happy ending with someone else, but maybe it's actually with Aiden. This is the other book in the Off the Ice series, Spiral. This is the second one. This is the one that I said I didn't enjoy as much. I really enjoyed the couple, but yeah, the setting was just like not it for me. But it is Elias and Sage. We saw him in the first book. This is his first NHL season, and she is a ballet dancer trying to make it in Toronto. And they end up fake dating because he starts getting a bad rep for being a playboy kind of thing. Unfortunately, in the ballet world, having followers and attention could get you more gigs, which she wants, so it kind of works out for both of them. We'll continue with romance. We have The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. This is the sequel to Say You'll Remember Me, which are the only two books I've read from Abby Jimenez. This one is a best friend's girlfriend, boyfriend's best friend. They all met on the same night. Larissa ends up going home with Mike, or he drives her home, which ends up starting their relationship, but there's this kind of thought of what if she would have ended up going with Chris instead and what could have changed. They keep getting forced together because Mike is kind of the worst and really bad boyfriend, and Chris keeps picking up the slack. And then they're also brought together by this little guy, I think it was a boy dog, I can't remember, where they end up finding this dog together, and neither of them can foster him by themselves, so they co-parent this dog, and they end up becoming really good friends to each other, which develops into more, but maybe always was a little bit more than just friendly feelings. The first and second book in a heartbreaking series, I have Binding 13 and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. I have read Binding 13, but I have not read Keeping 13. They're both these editions. Super pretty. I enjoyed Binding 13. Obviously, it's a really heartbreaking series. If you don't know, we follow Johnny and Shannon. Shannon had a really hard time at her previous school, getting bullied quite a bit, and in her home life, it's god-awful, just terrible. She's starting at a new school, and she is walking on the field and ends up getting hit in the face by like a rugby ball, I believe. And that is because of Johnny, who is a rugby superstar. And the world keeps bringing them back to each other. She's trying to keep her image very low-key because of her previous traumas at other schools, but Johnny is not low-key at all. Everyone's paying attention to him. That also becomes a problem for him because there's some stuff that he's going through behind the scenes. I really enjoyed the first one, but I'm nervous for the second one, but I think it'll be quite good. I just realized how these like blend into each other. Never noticed that. Then I have Rights of the Starling by Devney Perry. This is the follow-up to Shield of Sparrows. And of course the pretty edition. I don't have the first book, so I went out quickly to grab this while I could still get the sprayed edges. I really enjoyed the first one last year. I can't remember our main character's name, but she is kind of supposed to be the spare of her family, her royal family, but she ends up in a twist of events marrying this, I don't even know how to describe the first book. I think he's a prince, some type of royalty as well, to create like kind of alliances, and he will help with these monsters that have been attacking her area. It's some kind of treaty kind of agreement that she ends up marrying this guy when it was supposed to be her sister. But since it was supposed to be her sister, her dad and her sister had a plan for her to spy on him and what's going on over there. So she is tasked with that now. That's a very small part of it. And then this is obviously the follow-up. This one I did read. I didn't really enjoy it as much as the first one. It was fine, but definitely not as strong. A lot of journeying, and I'm not sure that that's like my type of fantasy. Sometimes it's okay, but there was a lot in this. I got Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. I've heard so much about this recently. This series has been really popping off on BookTube, so I thought I should finally pick it up. I think it's just like small town romance, but maybe like a little bit darker and like heavier topics. Brother's best friend, and he's working on her house, takes care of her as things are crashing down and so-called accidents keep happening. He's a man with secrets and they have a price. But yeah, I don't really know a ton about these. This was actually my most recent read. I just finished it, but it is Most Likely to Murder by Lish McBride. This follows, it's actually a little bit different because it follows Rick. I very rarely, if ever, read books that are from the male perspective, or if it's from the male perspective, it's like a romantasy or something and we're just seeing some of it from him, but we're definitely seeing the females as well. This is 95% from Rick's point of view, but we have Rick and Martina who are best friends. They're kind of outcasts, but at their school something happens and the most likely to area of the yearbook has been switched. The superlatives are now like most likely to choke on their own words and most dramatic death on stage. Kind of stuff like that, all alluding to people dying and getting murdered. One of them is a teacher, most likely to sleep with the fish, and he turns up dead in a pond, kind of thing. Rick and Martina are on those pages, but lots of people also suspect that maybe they did this because they're kind of pranksters before the murder, and then once the murder happens, everything kind of gets a little bit crazier. I liked this one for the most part. Not the best YA mystery, but once I got into it, I really wanted just to continue and read it, find out who did it. Not a great payoff, but a really cool idea. And I actually did enjoy Rick and reading it from his perspective. It was a little bit different for me. Another YA mystery that I'm really excited for is The Escape Game by Marissa Meyer and Tamara Ross, or Tamara, I'm not sure. This one is about a game show. It's an escape game, and 6 months ago a contestant died on the show. Don't really know what happened, but on this next season her sister is competing in the game, but mainly to find out what happened to her sister. And this is a fun sprayed edge edition. I don't know if it has anything else cool on it, but I'm really excited for this one. I think it's a really cool idea. And then the last one for April is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This one is about newlywed couple Trisha and Ethan, and they bought this old house, and it's super like endearing, cool to them until they're stuck there because of a snowstorm. This house was previously owned by a psychiatrist, and during the snowstorm, when they're stuck in there, they find these audio files from the psychiatrist and start listening. The psychiatrist ended up going missing, and as Trisha listens to these tapes, the pieces start coming together of what led up to this doctor going missing and what really happened. I've heard really, really good things about this one. I don't know that I think it's one of the more popular ones, but definitely not housemaid level, but I've pretty much only heard good things about this one, so I'm really excited to get to it. And then finally in May, I only bought 6 books. That's good, but I've only read one of them, so we'll just get that one over with. But it's also one we've kind of talked about. It's series 4, and that's Fury Bound by Sable Sorensen. This was also an okay sequel, so kind of already know what this one is. I don't know if I should show you the end pages because it's kind of a spoiler on the one. Not a great sequel, kind of boring, but not bad, but I just finished this one the other day. So I'm excited. I think there's only 3 books in this series, so I'm excited to see how they finish it out. Both of these books I got at a book sale, used book sale. The Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns. I think I was supposed to read both of these in high school, and I was just so not in my reading time, and I had so much other stuff going on, so I never finished either of them. But I remember actually quite enjoying them, even though they're like really deep and dark topics. Really enjoying the writing and everything in these ones, so I decided to finally pick them up, and I'll give them another read and actually finish them this time. I might have finished one of them, I just can't remember. These will eventually get read. They're definitely not my normal reading taste or like subject. Clearly I'm a romance, fantasy, mystery kind of girl, but these ones are a little bit more literary and like heart-wrenching. I am quite excited to get to those. And then also at the book sale, I decided to finally pick up The City of Bones, which is the Mortal Instruments book 1 by Cassandra Clare. I've never read this series, but it's having like a resurgence everywhere, and people are really loving it again, so I feel like I should give it a try. See, I don't really know what actually this series is about, and I feel like I should just leave it at that. I know there's like incestuous possible relationships in, I don't know if it's this series or like, because I think they're built in like kind of trilogies or like all connected, but little series within one big series kind of thing, if that makes sense. And I got original cover, so that's fun. Another Frida McFadden, I grabbed The Inmate. I don't know why, I'm falling into the Frida McFadden thing lately. A nurse practitioner at a maximum security prison. 3 crucial rules: to treat all prisoners with respect, never reveal any personal information, never ever become too friendly with the inmates, but she has already broken the rules. Nobody knows about her intimate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. But he is serving a life sentence for a series of grisly murders. I don't know. Thought that one sounded quite interesting. And her reads are obviously super, super quick. Fast. An easy read. Finally, the last book of this haul, last book I bought this year so far, is Please Don't Go by E. Salvador. This is like the new sports hyped romance. People say like, if you loved the Windy City series, this is gonna be good competition for it, because nothing has hit quite like that, but this is going to. Josephine, our female main character, is dealing with a lot of grief and just staying afloat, which is getting harder by the day. Daniel looks like he has everything going for him, a gifted shortstop. What no one sees is the guilt and loss he's been carrying since his brother's death. Grief he's learned to hide behind smiles and discipline. They stumble upon each other by chance on Christmas Day. I really hope it gives me the feels and the love that the Windy City series did. Now we have the unhaul portion. I just have 9 books to unhaul. I just really want to get them out of my house, so I'm not going to wait until I do like a bigger unhaul video. This is just going to be kind of like Steph from Steph Loves, her ins and outs for each month, except mine is for 5 months. I read Priest by Sierra Simone last month in my 7 books in 7 days video. If you saw that, it was just meh for me, middle of the road, and I don't feel like I need it on my shelves. It's taking up space that another book that I love could have. A priest abandoning his flock and his vows to the church. Very fast. It did not take much convincing. Every Step She Takes by K.L. Armstrong. I actually enjoyed this one. It's a mystery about a girl that's kind of been on the run for most of her life. She changed her name and all this because of a situation that happened back home. Now she's in Rome. Someone leaves her packages and notes with her old name on it, calling her back to the States. I just don't want this paperback, what are these called, mass market ones? I just don't want that. So I probably would have kept it if I had the normal copy, but that's okay. Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I didn't like this one. sorry guys, I know people love this, but like, I did not like the female main character, and I don't like what she did and how she acted. No accountability, just ran away from like literally every problem she's ever had. I will be watching the series for this though. I gotta give it a try, but not for me. But I'm glad so many people enjoy it, and then also it's the mass market, so I extra don't need it on my shelf. A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult. I just read this one and it was decent. It was, I don't want to say good. It's a very heavy topic. It's about a man who takes basically a Planned Parenthood hostage, and we hear the story of what brings each individual into that place that day, but we read it backwards, and that made like the ending part boring, because it was at the beginning stuff, that stuff was a little bit more boring and it dragged out a little bit, but it was a really interesting read. I just don't feel like I need it on my shelves. A Woman in the Window, or The Woman in the Window, I just didn't want to get rid of it before I read it because I spent my money on it. I really have a hard time with doing that, and like, what if I did really enjoy it? But this is like the classic tropes of like a woman with a multitude of issues. Like, this trope and this idea has gotten like spoofed, and like lots of things making fun of it, but also lots of stories using it before it was getting made fun of. So all those kind of topics of a woman seeing what she thinks was a murder across the street, but no one believes her because of what happened and there's no proof, blah blah blah. It was okay. 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. This one is also one I probably should have just got rid of without reading it, but I really just didn't want to, because I've watched the series for this before I bought the book, and I enjoyed the TV series. This might have been more interesting if I hadn't already known what was going to happen, but it was kind of boring because I knew where it was going, and it's not a very fast-paced story to begin with, and like neither is the TV show, but it just works a little bit more, I guess, in the TV show, or because I had never seen it, so I didn't, or like read it, didn't know what was going to happen. So I don't know, there's lots of things that could go into this, but it was alright. Again, meh. That's usually why I get rid of books, because they're meh. And you'll see a theme. These are lots of books that I put off for a long time and then finally read them, and now I'm okay with getting rid of them. A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. I love this cover. I thought I was gonna really enjoy this. It's set in Toronto, which I think is really fun because so many books are like not set in Canada, and it's like full of LGBTQ characters, and it's a really cool idea. I just don't think the execution was the best, and I do not care to continue on in this series, so there's no reason for me to continue or to hold on to this and just take up shelf space. This cover is pretty. The other cover's ugliest covers I've ever seen. I've said that multiple times, but ugly. So I don't know how they downgraded so much, but yeah, I liked some of the like relationships that we were seeing in this, but that was really the main thing, and I don't think I knew what was going on a lot of the time. I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel like I was lost, and I don't know if that was me or the book, but it just didn't help. And then the last 2 ones that I actually enjoyed, I just don't feel like I need on my shelves. We have These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. I've had this on my shelves for 10 years, and I finally read it. I had a bookmark like here for literally 10 years, but I did not want to get rid of it until I read it again. This is a historical mystery who follows Joe, who is from a wealthy family, and at this time period, obviously women did not do a ton and were not allowed to do a ton, especially when it came to like work or like mystery and death and all of that kind of stuff. Her dad ends up dying. They say it's suicide. She doesn't think so. So she starts investigating, and she gets the help of, I forget what his name was, Eddie, who works as a newspaper reporter. And then finally I have American Royals by Catherine McGee. I enjoyed this one. I will probably continue on in the series, but I did just listen to the audiobook and I don't feel like I need the books on my shelves, so that's the only reason I'm getting rid of this one. But this one is if the states ended up having kings and queens and royal families instead of presidents and stuff. So Washington was the first king, and this is obviously like current time, his lineage is still in power, and we're gonna have our first female leader, the first queen, because things got changed. It wasn't like the first male born, it just became the firstborn, so she is the first queen instead of king, or she's going to be. We see her the pressures that holds, and then also her siblings, who one has a really hard time living up to the expectations. Again, enjoyed that one. Will just be like an audiobook kind of read. Okay, those are all the books I've hauled and I'm going to unhaul so far in 2026. I'm hoping I continue the theme of not buying a ton of books, and when I do, it's either book trophies or books I read right away. My TBR is going down quite a bit, so I'm doing quite well this year. I just want to continue on that. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a long one. Let me know any of the books that you've hauled so far this year, or books you're unhauling, or if there's any books I mentioned that you think I should get to right away, let me know. And make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!